Welcome to PeopleSoft Now. I'm Rebecca Jackson. In this episode, we'll continue our discussions with the PeopleSoft product strategy team. This time with Julie Alonso, who looks after product strategy for PeopleSoft Human Resources, the most foundational and heavily used product in the HCM suite. Today, we're joined by Julie Alonso, Director of Product Strategy for PeopleSoft Human Resources. Julie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Rebecca, for asking me.
So maybe let's start by having you introduce yourself. I know you've been a member of the product strategy team for a while, but you've got a broader background with PeopleSoft than that. Tell us about that.
So yeah, probably right out of college, I started working for PeopleSoft on the campus solutions side. So I was heavily involved with campus solutions, and then I transitioned over to one of our customers, California State University, which is obviously higher ed. So I actually started doing HR for them. So primarily supporting like even time and labor and absence management. And I became more engaged with Oracle by attending conferences and participating in focus groups. So I liked all the stuff that they were doing at the time. And so when a position opened up on the strategy team, I applied for it.
Wonderful. And human resources, of course, is such an important module in our HCM suite. It's also massive. Can you talk a little bit about what functional areas within HR you oversee?
Yeah, so HR is our biggest module, obviously, because every customer has to use HR within the HCM suite. So I am primarily responsible for job data, personal data, which is our probably two most used components within HCM, as well as other things like HR legs and regs, not just for the United States, but for the other HR countries that we support globally, which is about 23 countries, as well as other products that fall within HR, like guided self-service, employee self-service, also health and safety, which a lot of customers were introduced to last year when we had all those vaccination mandates, right? We've always had health and safety, but now it got more put in the forefront, and so many customers had to start tracking that. So it's pretty cool that we have existing modules that customers are still implementing and deploying to this day.
So when we take a look at what we've delivered in human resources in those areas over the last, say, 12 months or so, what do you think stands out in terms of highlights, and how are customers responding to those features?
Yeah, so there's the two that come to mind, and they're totally different, right? One is something that's a little bit like more dear to my heart, and that's the gender identity and expression feature, right? I felt like this was the first time that we could even have a social impact on somebody's life as an employee with software, right? Typically you would enter your time through timesheet or benefits, right? But now an employee can go in through self-service and they can self-identify their pronouns, which for a lot of people is very personal, as well as they can identify their sexual orientation or gender identity. And I will say probably for our customers, they were so passionate about this. They were so engaging and so helpful to each other. They had their diversity and inclusion experts on our focus group calls. We had non-binary, also people participating on the calls to make sure that what we delivered was representative of what they needed. And so to me, it's probably one of the most things I've been proud of that we've delivered over the last 12 months. And I know a lot of the customers too have uptaken it, and they've had really positive feedback from their employees.
I was going to say in that particular area, I'm sure configurability is key. So everything about the way we deliver it is highly configurable based on customer, country, and that organization's policies.
Right. So we did configure it to be at a global level by different countries. And so we did deliver some configurability for certain countries based on the focus group feedback. But yes, definitely it's configurable by country.
That's great. And what was the second area that you were referencing?
Yeah, so the second one, completely opposite, is the monetization of job data. So it was delivered a little bit more than 12 months ago, but we have had a lot of customers uptake that. And we kind of wanted to give our users the same experience that they've had through self-service, through using Fluid, the use of the ease of that. We wanted to have them have that same user experience, but for the HR admin, because it's typically the HR admin that's using job data, and they could be in it for an hour a day, they could be in it for 7 hours a day. So we wanted to bring in some of that functionality of having attachments, having easy guided processes, some of the stuff that we've had in self-service that our customers have loved, but bringing it, to the HR admin. So we spent a lot of time working with our customers and working on the modernization of job data, because of course it is a huge module, right? It is our probably most used module within HCM. And so far, the customer feedback has been awesome. They really have loved new features and functionality that they have gotten with the fluidization of job data.
It's been great to see the rapid adoption of both of those quite different features, as you mentioned. If we look forward to some of what we're working on for the roadmap, what are you most excited to be working on and for our customers to get a hold of?
I think there's probably, again, two of them. So after we did the modernization of job data, we are now focusing our development efforts on the modernization of personal data. So adding some new enhancements for that feature, right? Because they kind of go hand in hand. You hire a new person, right? You enter their personal data. So we are focusing on that. That's currently in development. And then the second thing, once we have all this fantastic data, and job data and personal data, we would like to have some analytics to use against that data, right? What are some of our turnover analysis, right? What's happening in the last 3 years for turnover? What's our diversity look like? So having some analytics around all of that valuable information that we have had stored in job data and personal data for years, that's probably one of the things that I'm most looking forward to, is for the analytics.
That's great. We're really unlocking a lot of power with those analytics dashboards. Maybe one last question for us today, and that is, what do you love most about the role of PeopleSoft Product Strategy?
Again, probably two answers, right? A lot of it is I love going out to conferences and meeting with customers and, just meeting them on a personal level, but also seeing how they're taking what we have delivered and applying it to their business and the value that they're seeing in it. So that's kind of like the first part. And then this kind of the step before that is having an idea, whether I've thought of it or if it's come through an idea space or somebody from the product team having that idea and then taking it to the next step, the focus group, getting the requirements, right? Then taking it to the third step, which is the review panel, right? The executive review, and then them actually developing it and us releasing it, right? So being able to see that full cycle of having an idea and then having customers actually implement it and use it, right? I think that's a pretty cool concept. And that's one of the things I look forward to. I know it's not so quick and immediate because it can take some time, but there's such a tremendous value that I see that customers are getting with the stuff that we are delivering.
Well, the HCM team has really led the way, I think, for us in redefining our engagement model with focus groups and idea spaces. And now we have them, of course, across the product suite. So it's great to have you and the rest of the team helping drive that for us. Julie, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right, now stay tuned as we wrap up the show with your In the Know update.
Good, Sparky.